What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to break down the NASCAR Xfinity Series race on Draftkings. This for Martinsville this weekend. This is a great weekend for NASCAR. Here we are in Martinsville. We're going to go through the drivers who I like. I think there's going to be a little bit of difference between what I like and highly owned drivers, at least in the Dominator tier. But we'll go with that. We're going to start out with Sam Mayer. I really like Sam Mayer. This is the first time I've actually been. You know what? I kind of like going to Sam Mayer here. He only had an average position of 22 in Martinsville last year, but he did have 16 fast laps. And quietly, Sam Mayer has been driving really well this year. The last few races, he has had some really good runs. Finished third last weekend at Richmond, and I don't think Martinsville's by any means his best short track, but this is what we come to know from Sam Mayer. This is where he's the best at right now in his NASCAR career is short tracks, and I think this is a very fair price and a very good place differential upside play here for Sam Mayer, especially when his teammates are really good at short. Like this is Junior Motorsports has just got a stacked group of short track racers, guys who've had success at Martinsville. I believe all three of them have wins here. I know Barry and Gregson won last year, but I'm like 99% sure. Justin Allgaier won a race here in the past as well. Actually, I'm 100% sure. I remember that. Yeah, I mean, this is just a great group for him to even learn from. $8,900 is way too cheap in my opinion. Especially for where he's starting. If he was starting like 4th or 5th, yeah, I'd get it. But starting 21st, I think this is a great play. I love Sam Mayer today. I'd play him in all forms, all types of lineups you can play. So I like going there. Moving on to Sheldon Creed, I think he'll probably run fine, but just starting 5th, I mean, kind of what I said about Sam Mayer. You know, if he was starting 4th or 5th, I probably wouldn't be too interested in him, but at 21st, it was cool with Sam Mayer. But with Sheldon Creed, he is starting 5th, so I don't really see him being a lap leader, so I'm not really going to play him. Bailey Curry's too expensive. I don't really understand why he's $6,100, to be completely honest. That makes no sense to me. Starting 29th, I just can't get there. Matt Mills, $4,900, starting 37th here. If you want to go to Matt Mills, I get it. He starts really far back. He's really cheap. But actually, I am rethinking my lineup that I made this morning now that I see that. I would much rather play Matt Mills than the other punt that I'm about to talk about. All right. Ryan Vargas, $5,300, starting 34th. I'm not. I mean, I could just go a little bit cheaper for Matt Mills. In all honesty, that's probably where I prefer. He starts a little bit farther back, a little bit cheaper. So if you have the extra salary, you can get to Vargas. I get that, especially in tournaments. He probably won't be as highly owned, but he's not going to be someone we're really too excited about. Justin Allgaier, I think he'll run well, but I don't think he's someone I really want to get in as a dominator here. Average positions of 10 and 8 at both Martinsville races last year, led no laps in either race. Only had 3 fast laps in the first one and 11 in the second one. I think he'll run well, but I don't really think he's one of my dominator guys. I really like these two, though, Barry and Gregson. Josh Berry ran 2 races at Martinsville last year, but as you see, I only have stats for 1 because he only ran 1 in Junior Motorsports equipment, which he had an average position of 8th, led 95 laps, had 27 fast laps, and he won. Starting 10th, he gives you place differential upside as he does lap lead upside. I think he's one of my top 2 picks to win. The other pick to win, in my opinion, is Noah Gragson, his teammate. He's a little bit more expensive, starts 3rd. He had average positions of 6 and 4 at Martinsville last year. He led 12 laps in the first one and 153 in the second one. Had 21 fast laps in the first one and 26 fast laps in the second one. And let's not forget, he won the second race, and he finished 2nd in the first race. So I really like Noah Gragson. I know Ty Gibbs is the favorite on DraftKings right now. I think it should be Noah Gragson. He's definitely the best driver at Martinsville in the series right now. He's ran well here. I mean, his only truck win came here. He's ran well here in Hassan Xfinity, so I really like what we're seeing from him here. I think he leads a ton of laps. He's my pick to win today. If you had to choose one guy who I think would win today, it would be Noah Gragson. But Barry's a close second. So really like those two today, and you can make lines with both of them in. So really like going there. Moving on to Landon Castle, $8,700, starting 7th. He's just been consistent all year. Really just a top 10 guy every week. I could see that happening. I'm pretty sure it happens again. Won't hurt you if you play him. But I mean, he just doesn't have a ceiling, in my opinion, to really win you a tournament. Once he leads laps, and I just don't see that. Daniel Hemrick starting 9th. We just haven't seen it from Colleague really at all this year, aside from the road courses. And I just don't really see that changing here. It's not like Hemrick was great at Martinsville last year either. Average positions of 9 and 6. He led 28 laps in the first one, 18 in the second one. It's good. 25 fast laps in both races. I mean, he's probably going to be a top 10 guy, maybe a top 5 guy. But I just don't really see any point in playing him as a dominator over these two. And we'll get to Ty Gibbs too. AJ Allmendinger, $10,500, starting 13th. I think he had some sort of issues at the first Martinsville race, but still, he's really just never been that great here. This is really not the track where we've seen AJ Allmendinger really have a ton of success. So, starting 13th at 10,500 when you have these 3 around him, I'd rather play Allgaier, honestly. So I just don't really want to get to AJ Allmendinger today. Ryan Truex looks fast. That 18 car's been fast this year. Like, let's be real. John Nemechek almost won last week. We've seen Trevor Bayne have good runs in that car. So Ryan Truex, I think he should be a top 10 guy today or this week. It is Ryan Truex. He's not like the most talented guy in the world, but it's still a really good car. But starting fourth, I'm not gonna be too interested. Brandon Jones, $9,200, starting 12th. He should be a top 10 guy, I think. Average position of 9 and 10 last year. He did lead 16 laps in the first one, had 11 fast laps in the first one. I think he'll be a top 10 car, but there's just other guys I'd rather play. I'd rather drop $300 to Sam Mayer than Brandon Jones, to be completely honest. Austin Hill, I actually like Austin Hill here. Austin Hill's been really consistent all year, although I will say he hasn't been as great at the two shorter tracks he went to, but I try not to compare this to Richmond, or to Martinsville, but those are Richmond and Phoenix. But $8,200 starting 14th, I think he should be a top 10 guy here. He's a little bit too cheap. Austin Hill has been very underrated all year long, in my opinion. I know he won Daytona, but he's been a very good driver so far this year. I can see a little bit of concern considering he's definitely done better at the bigger tracks, but I still don't mind going there. I like Anthony Alfredo. Anthony Alfredo's been a consistent top 15 guy all year long. That Our Motorsports team is actually looking pretty solid this year. Starting 16th, I think he could definitely compete for a top 10 here. I don't think he's going to kill. I don't think he hurts you. But I can see him. He probably hasn't. If he averages out what he's been doing this year, he'll probably finish in the top 15. But at that point, he doesn't hurt you. He doesn't kill you. I think he's a good cash play, honestly. So I like Anthony Alfredo here. Derek Griffith sucked last week. He's not good. But Sam Hunt Racing Equipment's decent. So $6,600 for a guy starting 36. I get it. I really get it. You don't need to go there. You don't need to go there. Jeff Burton starting 25th, $7,800. Feels like he's been chalked pretty much every week this year in Xfinity. Last week was the week it finally worked out. I don't really want to play him. Starting 25th, I just think he probably runs 20th all day here, and it's $7,800. Just let me drop $300, get to his teammate Alfredo, who finishes higher more than likely. So, you can play Burton. I don't think he's a terrible play, but I don't think you need to go there, and I'm sure he's going to get a good bit of ownership. I don't know, I was talking about Matt Mills, about my punt play. Well, the person I was on was Natalie Decker at $4,500 starting 38th, but Matt Mills is probably the better play here. But I need to make a case for Natalie Decker because this is the best play. This is the best car she's really ever been in the Xfinity Series. She's usually in the Reum Brothers truck, and on DraftKings it says that she's in Reum Brothers equipment, but she's in the RSS car for Ryan Sieg race Ryan Shane Sieg, but it's the same team that Ryan Sieg runs, the same team that Parker Retzlaff's been running. That's good equipment. That's top 10, top 15 car. It's Natalie Decker. She's not going to get that. But she's the cheapest driver on the slate. She starts dead last. And she just can't, she's not good. She is not good. We all know that she's not good. But, she should be able to get, a top 25 out of this car. As long as she doesn't wreck. It is Martinsville, so I would be careful. And, Matt Mills wrecks too. Those are the two punt plays, and they're good punt plays. They honestly are. Matt Mills, Natalie Decker, starting really, really, the last two spots are both super cheap. They're both fine. It's Natalie Decker. I get it if you don't want to play her, and she's probably going to get some ownership because she's literally starting dead last, and she's the cheapest driver on the slate. And, this car, compared to all the other cars that are priced around her, is way better. But it's Natalie Decker. I get it. But that's my case for Natalie Decker. She's in a good equipment. She starts dead last. She's the cheapest on the slate. So, but, she could wreck on lap 5, and I wouldn't even be shocked. So, I get it if you don't want to go to her. She's burnt many people a lot, plenty of times. It's ridiculous, but here we are. So, Myatt Snyder, $7,300 starting 19th. That's just pretty much where that Jordan Anderson car is with Myatt Snyder, and that'll probably be where he runs all day, so I'm not going to be too interested there. Kyle Weatherman, I actually think Kyle Weatherman's interesting, because we have him in the Jesse Iwuji car, who, Jesse Iwuji might be worse than Natalie Decker, in all honesty. He's awful. But Kyle Weatherman, he's not great or anything, but he's not, the worst driver out there. I don't know how. I'm interested to see how decent this car is with a okay driver in it. So I'm still not gonna go there. I don't think. He's just starting 27th. I wish he was starting a little bit farther back. He's $6,000. Wish he was a little bit cheaper. So probably not gonna go to Kyle Weatherman. But I think it's interesting. This is a race to take note of how he does, to see how that car does the rest of the year. I'm okay with Shane Lee. I like him a little bit more than Weatherman. Those are similar tiers of equipment here for me in those two cars. But he's $800 cheaper, starting 28th. Obviously, some place differential upside. I don't think you need to go there, but I don't mind him at all. Alex Lebaye, starting 18th, $700. That's just too expensive for me to play him starting that high. Parker Retzlaff. Look, this guy got a top 10 last weekend. His second start ever? He's in RSS equipment. Again, the RSS's look fast this year. Ryan Sieg's been a top 10 guy pretty much all year. So, I really like going back here. I think this is a spot that's probably going to get some ownership because people took note of that last week. But he's still too cheap. Like, he's just too cheap. If he's going to be a top 10 to 15 car every single week, I mean, that's too cheap for $7,000 starting 20th. I mean, he offers you place differential upside. He's definitely a talented driver for sure. And, I mean, he's in, really good equipment. So I like going to Parker Retzlaff. His teammate Ryan Sieg, again, I mean, last week he worked out because he ran up, like, in the top 5 the whole race. I mean, it just starts too high. I'm still not going to be too interested in him. Howie D Cevino starting too high for me. I mean, he is only 4,600. Alpha Prime, that's another team that, honestly, down there in the super cheap ranges is good equipment, but he just starts too high up. I don't think he runs that well. I mean, it's Howie D Cevino. He probably runs 25th all race, and I mean, it's just not going to pay off. But see, like, if that's what Natalie Decker finishes, and Natalie Decker finishes 25th, it's going to be a smash. Just this. Brennan Poole, $4,700, starting 32nd. This is the first race this team's made all year, I'm pretty sure. Like, I mean, he's missed qualifying, and it's my karma machine. That scares me. So I'm not going to go there. Jade Buford I really like. I've been on the Jade Buford train all year, and it really hasn't paid off at all. Like, at all. He is not. The races he's run well, he's wrecked in. And the races he doesn't run well, he doesn't run well. But starting 31st, I mean, again, this is really like an RCR number 3 or 4 car here. So, starting 31st, I think he should do decent here. I mean, he had average positions of 26 and 22 at Martinsville last year. That's improvement from the first race to the second race, and that was on worse equipment. I think he should run the top 20. Starting 31st at $6,400 makes it look like a really good play. Jeremy Clements at $6,900, starting 15th. I think he runs there all race. Maybe competes for a top 10. Just probably not going to be too interested in him. Ty Gibbs is probably going to be popular as always. I mean, he's been on a tear to start this year. He's won 3 races now. Although I will say, really the only one he was like a dominator. He dominated that race was last week, and he didn't really dominate. Like, it was John Hummer Nemechek and him like battling back and forth, which was awesome racing. And then, some issues happened at the end. I'm not going to get into that. That's another story. But I'm not a Ty Gibbs hater by any means. Average positions of 9 at both races here last year. 28 laps in the first one, 16 the second one, 17 fast laps in the first one, 8 in the second one. He'll run well. Don't get me wrong. I just think that Gragson and Berry are a little bit better here, and that's where I'm going to go. And in all honesty, Gragson's been better than Ty Gibbs this year, like everywhere, except for last week. I mean, he was, or the 3 races he's won. Atlanta he won, which was a plate race, so whatever. And then, was it Vegas? It was Vegas he won, and he won on a late restart where Noah Gragson dominated that race. Noah Gragson's been the best driver in the series this year. Just the wins haven't shown up. I think that changes tonight, though. J.J. Yaley, $6,200, starting 33rd. Probably not going to be too interested there. It's just other guys priced around him I'd rather go to. Brandon Brown starts a little bit too high for me, in my opinion. It's $7,100, starting 17th. He'll probably run around there all day. I forgot about Dale Jr. Gosh, how can I forget about Dale Jr.? He's running tonight in this race. $9,800. He's in a junior motorsports car. He did not qualify well, but he was top 10 in practice. So, I mean, the last 2 years, Dale Jr., he's like in a steady decline, to be completely honest. So I don't think he's like some insanely great play, but he does start 30th, man. Like, I mean, what are you going to say? He's starting 30th. Honestly, he should get a top 10, at least a top 15. So I like Dale Jr. here. He might be a little bit expensive. Like, in all honesty, I can't believe I'm saying this. I might rather play Sam Mayer, but if you can get up to Junior, I don't mind it. Like, I think he's a good play in cash. If you're playing cash, you should probably play Dale Jr. And I think he's fine in tournaments. But he's going to get ownership because he's Dale Jr. and he's starting 30th. So just be prepared for that. If that might be the Junior, getting away from Junior in tournaments might be smart. Mason Massey, $6,300, starting 26th. Not going to be interested. Riley Herbst starts too high for me here. He starts 11th, $8,000. Average positions of 21 and 12 last year. He didn't lead a lap. He had 3 fast laps in one, 4 fast laps in another. Probably runs 15th all day. Stephen Parsons is going to be starting too high up for me. There's just other better cheap plays in my opinion. Brett Moffitt, same thing. He just starts too high. I just don't want to play him starting 6th. David Starr, I don't ever want to play David Starr. I don't care where he starts. I shouldn't say that. I did just talk about playing Natalie Decker. But, I mean, he starts higher up, and he's a little more expensive. Joe Graff Jr., $5,800, starting 24th. Not going to be too interested. If you're looking for outright winners tonight, I am liking Noah Gragson, plus 550, Josh Berry, plus 600. I think Sam Mayer is a good plus 1,400 bet to make. I don't think he's going to win, but he's also plus 175 to get top 5. I definitely like that. That's right. Those are the spots I'd go for betting tonight. But yeah, that's really all I got. Thank you guys so much for checking this out. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and good luck tonight. Oh, crap. OBS, come back.